that too. Let me see. Let me mute that. Okay.
Thank you. It says record meeting up there in the upper left corner. I need to do something else. Good. Get rid of that delayed picture on there. No, John David won't be here tonight.
Somebody's playing a radio or a television or something in the background there.
It might be mine in the next room. I'll get up and move.
I need a speaker. I looked for a speaker.
Is that better?
Yeah, I don't hear it now. So.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right, so who
Judy's not here, and John David. John David won't be here tonight.
Okay.
Judy's not here.
Okay. All right, and we have, who is male?
That's Carolyn.
Okay, I always forget. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Is Judy gonna be with us, or?
She didn't call me and tell me she's not coming, but she may be late. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her.
Okay.
And I've got Jeep in the office here with me.
Okay. All right, well, it's 7 o'clock, so let's go ahead and call the workshop to order. You're recording the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Finance is the first item on the agenda. Would you like to point out anything in that?
Yeah, on the general fund, I made a mistake at the bottom. Right, you can see the numbers right there, the 88,000 that we budgeted negative. We really budgeted negative 160, almost $169,000 negative.
I don't know where you are.
Can you see on the packet on the screen? Did I share the packet on the screen?
Yeah. All right.
If you look at the general fund recap on the second page, it shows you that we budgeted a negative, well, almost $89,000, but in reality, it's somehow the police cars got omitted out of the budget, I guess because I was playing with the police cars. So that should be a negative 160, almost 169, just $80,000 more than what's there. And currently we are negative 19,000 year to date. So I just wanted to point that out to you. We're still projected to be well ahead of what we budgeted as far as on my projection. You'll see that when we get to the budget part.
Okay.
Other than that, if you look, we're in April's finances right here, and we are positive in all of the funds. All the utility funds are positive. The general fund, the drug fund, and the street aid fund are all in good shape budget-wise. So I think everything's rolling along.
Okay. Are there any questions about the financials? Okay, if there are no questions on the financials, we will go to the...
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
What about adding what Bob talked to us about the first responders and all them? Is that
Well, we're going to talk
now?
we're going to talk about that a little later.
Okay, okay.
All right.
All right.
Review list of expenses, line over items.
Yeah, and there's just been a couple of new additions this month, not as many as the last couple of months, but they're just a little bit over. Anyway, there's not much change since last month.
We're going to have to do a budget amendment.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, we're at least $200,000 under appropriations for this year, for as far as what my projections call for.
Okay. Any questions on that item? Okay. C is capital projects and purchases.
So we are, we did get both of our Tahoes. One is currently being striped. The other one's already striped and in service. We plan to sell the surplus vehicles, the last three Crown Vics at the beginning of next fiscal year, after they get cleaned up and get ready to go. Most of the other stuff is either completed or delayed until next year, or very couple of them still in progress. But most of it's complete.
Well, it looks like Street 8 is probably the
That should be finished.
Okay.
I should have changed that to complete. That's finished.
Okay.
And it wasn't that much. That's the budgeted amount. I did not put in the final amount on that, which was $94,000, somewhere in that ballpark.
This is showing that it actually cost 106.
That was the budgeted amount that came from the bid, but we eliminated a road, eliminated Ballpark Road.
Okay, so that came out 94 instead of
94, yes, and I can't remember the exact amount.
Okay. Could we possibly do something with that that's left over with the
So we did.
there at the post office?
Yeah, we could.
Because that's pretty rough and there's a lot of traffic through there.
I can talk to Dave about that.
That would be nice if that were paved rather than gravel.
Where are you talking about, Ronnie?
If you turn into the post office and then go out the back,
Oh, okay.
it comes onto Latta Lane.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
It's
Okay, yeah.
well, it's basically gravel where it meets
Yeah.
rain. So if we could get that, just that, it wouldn't be a 30-foot section. We could get that
Yeah.
paved. That would be nice.
Okay, I'll talk to him about that.
If we've got some money left over. Because there'd be a lot of traffic there.
Hey, but you might have already answered my question, but have we already got all our roads paved that we
Yes.
projected for? Okay.
Well, we didn't do Ballpark because of some stuff going on with Memphis Contract Packaging, so we left that one off. So that's why we have a little extra money left over.
Okay. I try not to ask at next meeting.
All right. Sales tax.
Sales tax did pretty well this month. It was the best March that we've ever had as far as sales tax goes. So you can see what that looks like, the 52,000. Again, last month would have been closer to 42,000, but we had that refund go to that one store we were getting revenue from. Well, we were getting some other municipalities' revenue for a while. So we would have done very well in April as well. So next month we ought to see what April looks like, and that was the full coronavirus stuff. So we'll see what went on there. But we may not really see anything until for the next several months, until unemployment figures and all the other stuff get cooked into the economy, and we'll see how all that plays out.
Okay,
Is
but
it
we're still
basically
going to
the
be,
grocery store? Not, they're
The
doing
grocery
so
store
well.
is kicking it. The liquor store is kicking it. Yeah. The cigarette store, the tobacco store is kicking it. You know, all the good stuff.
Good.
okay, any other questions on that?
Hey, we haven't had any business that's shut down so far, as far as this, coronavirus happened.
Not that I know of.
And they were.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
Jason, can you go on mute, please? There you go. Thank you. Next item is the 501c3 donation request for the 21 budget. Do we want to discuss that here or during the budget?
We can discuss it during the budget if you want. This was added in to the budget, but we never really voted on it. So I think we probably need a vote on it at some point, or we can vote on it as part of the budget. It's up to everybody.
Okay,
This is just the ones that I did receive. Actually, I did receive letters from each one of those.
all right, and they are in next year's budget at these rates.
It was already in the proposed budget, yes.
Okay. All right, well, let's talk about that during the budget.
Okay.
Budget packet, we will wait on that. Let's go to ordinance 2020-003, establishing the, well, that's the budget.
Let's go to the next one,
Wait
yeah.
on that one.
Yes, sir.
2020-04, ordinance amending the town's municipal zoning ordinance.
So this is the Rolando Gersavo property on Highway 64. We kind of put this on hold because of the ability to not have a public meeting. Hopefully in June or I'm sorry, in July, we should be able to have a public meeting by then, or I don't know if the governor is going to extend that or not. So we'll see what happens, but we can at least maybe pass it on first reading and start doing some advertising. And then at the worst case scenario, we can have a public meeting on Facebook, I'm sorry, on Zoom, and do it that way. I have not spoken to Mr. Gersava. I did call him on the telephone, but he hasn't, and I wrote him an email, but he hasn't responded to me to let him know that we were kind of considering going on with this thing. So,
All right, and this would be first reading.
yes, sir. This would be for first reading. Yeah.
Okay, we can move that on to the board meeting. Resolution 12-2020, a resolution adopting the town of Somerville computer. Before I can read it, you click it off. Let me find it.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were reading
Adopting
mine.
the
Sorry.
town of Somerville computer, tablet, cell phone, email, and internet usage policy.
Right. You want to talk? So Mendy did a lot of the work on this. I just fixed it up in the form of a resolution, and we did present this to public entity partners to talk. Of course, we are trying to work on obtaining that the internet, the insurance that we can get for ransomware and such. So this would be a first step. We did get additional information from public entity partners that we are going to have to disseminate that information and figure out how to make another policy for whatever that, I can't even remember what that referred to, but I didn't really feel like it went into this one. So they approved of this one. Do you have anything to add to that, Mendy?
Yeah, disseminate is correct. We need
Figure it
to
out.
do a policy in regards to what we do with their data, privacy, notification on how we handle their information, their applications and things like that. We need that for an online format. And there are probably a couple of other items that we need to kind of tweak, but this was the most thorough that I could find. I couldn't even find one that was this thorough. So we just kind of put a bunch of things together, and it made sense for what we're doing. So hopefully, once we take a look at that, we'll, you know, it shouldn't take more than a month, I hope, for the public or the privacy policy.
Yeah, right now our privacy policy refers to storing data on cassette tapes. So probably is a little outdated. I think we need to update it to something more recent. So we need to get with ATA and make sure we have all the information correct and how it's all backed up and everything else. So, so that it's in a policy so that it can be approved by PEP so we can maybe get that, that insurance.
What is the online utility exchange policy?
I believe that was also, I think that was the part of the privacy policy with the online payment.
We're threatening our employees with a $5,000 fine, and
so we don't
jail.
administer that fine. That is a fine. So this is in regard to people. You know, we use utility services to determine how much of a deposit somebody has to give us. So they give us a utility credit report, and in order to you know, employees can get in trouble if they decide to run their own credit report or their friend's credit report just to see how things are going. This is a policy that came down from online utility exchange, and this is a fine that can be, you know, fined from, well, I don't know exactly who fines them, but anyway,
well, we're talking about a year in jail too.
Yes, yes, I know that.
Well, we probably need to know what where that comes from.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, Bob,
I
believe. I'm
What's the
sorry. I
reference on
believe
that?
that it was from the online utility exchange. Whoever it is that does our background checks, that was the information that we received from them directly.
Well, but I mean, a year and $5,000 fine and a year in jail
Yeah.
has obviously got to be a state or a federal law. So we need to know what that is and what it says and what we're talking about, it seems to me.
Yeah, when I had my video store, I had a $50,000 a year fine and 10 years in jail for every illegal copy I made. So,
right.
Who finds that out? I don't know, but this one is a little easier to find out than that.
Well, I'd like to know what that's all about.
Okay, I'll find the reference on that.
Are there any other questions on this policy? I know this is the first time anybody's seen it, so are there any questions? All right.
One of the things we're trying to cut down on is people searching the web on the server. You know, when they have downtime and they're on there looking around, we need to kind of limit that because that's a risk. That's a security risk that we don't need to be involved in. So.
Okay. All right, if you would find out that information and then we
Yes,
can
sir.
discuss this at the meeting, please.
Yep.
Are there any other questions on that? All right, Jay, discuss a one-time bonus for all department heads, police officers, and firefighters who work full-time throughout the shutdown. Don't know that the shutdown's over. Y'all seen today's statistics, but best I can tell, statewide, it's either the second or third largest one-day increase in cases that there's been. I don't know
Yep.
where that was. I tried to look to see where if there was another prison or something that had come on board, but I couldn't find it in the amount of time I was looking. So I don't know.
Might be related to
800
the civil unrest around the country. Who knows?
Well, 800 plus cases today, or yes,
And
that's what was reported today.
and 13 deaths today also,
Yes.
or yesterday.
Yes, so I had asked Bob to calculate what this would cost to do this, and I'm proposing that we pay the department heads, all the full-time police officers, 1 part-time police officer, 3 full-time firemen. That's 17 and a half people. And I'm proposing that we pay them a bonus payment of $1,500. Now, all the other employees except for these 17 have basically worked half-time. Now, all of our utility people and street people came back yesterday. Is that correct?
Yes, all of our utility people came back yesterday.
So they have been basically working 1 week and off a week because we didn't know what we would do if somebody got sick and we had to quarantine the whole department. We didn't know how we'd operate. So we chose to go with the half and half. I think we're going to have to watch and see. It may be that we may have to look at that again, depending on what goes on. I think Memphis is expecting more cases. They just don't know how bad it's going to be from Memorial Day weekend. That should start hitting either late this week or first of next week is where that will show up. So anyway, that is my proposal. That would cost about a total of about $29,000, of which about 26.7 is in the general fund and about 3,200 in the other funds. So I would propose that as an equitable situation, we do that to make up to those employees. While the employees that were only working half-time were under instructions that if we need you and call you, we expect you to be here in a very reasonable amount of time if it's during your normal working hours. And I think you did have to call in a couple of people there at one point.
A couple of people had doctor's appointments with relatives or whatever at City Hall that, we did call in people for 1 day or a half a day or whatever. But for the most part, we stayed, every other week.
Okay. So to me, this would be trying to treat everyone fairly, since we couldn't allow the police and firefighters and department heads to have the time off. It's just a way of saying thank you is what I'm proposing.
I think it's a
Hey,
real good
Ronnie.
idea.
I'm sorry, I think Sandra, you said something, I think.
I said, I think that's a real good idea to
Okay.
give them a nice thank you.
Okay. Jason?
Hey, Ronnie.
Yes.
I was just wondering, on the 17 employees, you said the firemen, the policemen, and that would include the fire chief and police chief. What about, as far as utilities? Like, what about the gas, water, and sewer? Are those guys, department heads, you talking about them as well?
No, it's 4 department heads. It would be the police chief, the fire chief, Bob, and G.
And G,
Okay.
yeah.
That
And
would
the
be
The other
rest-
guys
the
all
rest
split
employees.
time.
because
The other guys all split time, Jason.
Okay. I just want to be clear of all who was going to get the phones.
right.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, then we will put that on the agenda for Monday night.
Yes, sir.
K, item K, the town will receive unrestricted emergency relief funds of $20,419 from public entity partners. That is our insurance company, who used to be the Tennessee Municipal League Risk Management Pool, and then they were just the pool, and now they're public entity partners. Their board declared a $7 million, they called it an emergency dividend, and distributed that to all their customers, or they will in July. Somerville's share of that is $20,419, so that came in kind of handy.
And that goes, we can put that right in the general fund and use that the way we want to use it.
Any questions on that? Item 2, public safety, review the monthly fire stats.
So Jeremy was in here the other day, and we did get caught up on all the running times and all that stuff. So we're current on all that. And you can see where we are on that. April was pretty light since there weren't a lot of people doing much in April, but May is starting to pick up because more people are doing things in May. So you can still see everything's kind of rolling along there.
Do you know if we've had many cases where there were COVID precautions taken?
I do not off the top of my head, but I can ask the chief.
Any questions on the fire stats? Police stats? Is the chief with us tonight, or?
No, I asked him to be here, but his wife had surgery today, so he couldn't make it. She was supposed to do that last week, but it got postponed anyway, so she was there today. He did call me about an hour ago and said he really couldn't make it, so I said, okay.
Okay. Is there any questions on the police stats? Looks like things are kind of getting back toward normal.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was just looking at traffic stops, and from April to May.
Right. Well, we didn't do hardly anything in April. But, you know, when people are going 30 or 40 miles an hour over the speed limit going through town, we have to do something about it.
Yes.
You know, and there are more people on the road now too. I mean, you can just tell how many more people are out there on the road. It's pretty incredible. But, you know, people are starting to come out and do things, and, you know, they're on the road. And anyway.
Okay.
We're right now we're working on court for August and September because we haven't had any court for several months, so it's getting a little hairy.
Okay. D, ordinance 2020, an ordinance amending 15604 of the town of Somerville parking for first reading.
So we've been talking, I've talked to several people about tractor trailers parking on the old Fred's parking lot without permission, parking on the right-of-way, the TDOT right-of-way for the bypass down there on the south side of town, you know, where they are right across from the Criminal Justice Center. And so we really don't have anything in our ordinance that prohibits that activity. So I did talk to MTAS. I talked to my MTAS consultant, and he gave me this information. And I think it's, you know, reasonable, and it's something that we can do. We can either put a sign on the entrance to enforce it, or we could, you know, give people a warning, and then if they continue, then we can write a parking ticket from there. I think that's relatively reasonable solution.
Now, this applies to all vehicles. This is not just.
That's correct. Yes, sir. But the biggest offenders are tractor trailers and such that are parking through town. on the vacant lots in the town.
Okay, any questions on that? All right, we will move that to the board meeting. Planning, review the building permit stats.
Sorry. We had some building permits picked up a little this month. You know, it's going to be slow process coming back, I believe, with the building permits.
Any questions on that? Inspections made, we've done that. Community Development Director's report.
Yes, sir. Very happy to be back at work full-time in May. That was a little difficult trying to work from home, so I'm happy to be back. The first day that, well, I believe the Friday before the first day I came back, we got some good news. We were awarded the Main Street,
Tennessee downtown.
Tennessee downtown grant. So we will be beginning that in July. We will be a downtown designated area. So that's great. Besides that, that's the most exciting thing I have to tell you about. And just a whole lot of little tiny things that we're trying to figure out. We did mention, or Mayor, you actually mentioned, we wanted to find out about the movies and the fireworks. I think we've decided against those. Wasn't sure about the July and August movie and how we wanted to proceed with music on the square.
I thought we said, and I think what we're going to have to do really is just kind of wait and see. I know you can't wait till the last minute to get it together, that's for sure. But I don't know. It's hard to plan for it right now, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I do have one band booked for the 10th, but I hate to bother people with sponsorships and things like that. So.
Right. I don't know. What do y'all think? Ronnie, what do you think?
So Jeep just told me Mike Watkins probably is not going to play again till next year.
Talked to him Sunday.
Jeep talked to him on Sunday, said he probably is not going to want to play out.
Well,
So,
we haven't booked Mike yet.
yeah, we haven't booked him, but you know, that's one of those
Yeah.
options that we have been doing in the past.
Gotcha.
So that's another thing we're going to have to think about, you know, are the bands going to be willing to come and play? So
Right.
we can just wait till August. I mean, to see how it's all going.
I think that's what we have to do, is just wait and see what's going on, especially for September. I don't think June or July, I don't see how we could even think about having the fireworks.
That's what I thought.
And then we've got, I think we're just going to have to wait another month at least to see what's going on. And I keep hearing people talking about the second wave this fall. As far as I can tell, the first wave hadn't quit yet. So
Yeah.
I don't know how we get a second one. I think we just have to wait at this point. I agree with Vice Mayor Myers.
I was just looking at Mendy's report here. One of the things I'd like to point out is we did look into the cybersecurity policy. The cybersecurity policy costs $2,075 per year, which would be split across all funds. And then that's $1 million in coverage, and with a $250,000 per occurrence for data breach coverage, $1 million maximum, and a $2,500 deductible. So anyway, so that was something we did find out for you. So is $2,100 worth $1 million coverage? Probably.
And it looks like we would have to do a yearly diagnostic or, update overview of the online security that we did in 2018.
Well, we did it right in
Or
December.
2019.
It was
I'm sorry.
January of 19 when we finished that.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
right, we would have to do that annually. It looks like would be one of the requirements.
And
There are a
that
couple other
coverage-
things we could do to help with this situation.
And that coverage is from PEP?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, any questions on community development report?
You want to do the next one too, Amendy?
Yeah, go ahead. Which one was it?
Discuss adding the entrance
Oh!
sign.
I'm sorry, the sign.
So Jeep and I were, I'm just going to lead in here. Jeep and I were over there looking at the thing, and Jeep said, how about I put in a sign there? So I put Mendy working on it. And anyway, go ahead, Mendy, sorry.
Well, it's a great spot for a sign. Started kind of looking at it, and it was a great idea by Jeep, but then I started thinking, that's a beautiful area for a mural. And so, obviously
Of course, we're not Cairo. Or
Right,
Cairo, sorry.
Right, that's right, Cairo. But, we would obviously need permission to do this, but we've always talked about an entrance to the square. And I think that we've all agreed that another mural on the museum side of the building would be great. But this would be an opportunity to have an entryway onto the square. So it's just a thought. The gray sign is similar in shape and size of what we have for our entrance. So that might be an option too. But I just thought the mural would look good. But again, it's just an idea.
Well, I'd like the idea of doing one or the other. If we get the museum open at some point, if we put up a sign, we probably might want to refer to the museum. If
Absolutely.
we just got a sign there.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't put
Museum
a wagon train on there.
Right. Well, I was kind of hoping to do, something that was specific to dining, the museum, or possibly doing something with just the museum with maybe a picture of Herb Parsons, some of our blues musicians, Reverend Brewster, our downtown logo, different things that are specific to that. So, it's just a great wall to kind of welcome people.
Yeah, it's a good wall.
Yeah, now when the rail gets put up on that, that's not going to be as wide open as it looks like now.
Yes, that's correct. It's all going to, and the rail is going to stick up.
And
Well,
that was one of the reasons I thought a sign might not work, just because of the railing.
Well, as far as just a sign, you could actually put a sign on the very front of that next to the rail.
That's true.
And they are
Where it's coming
creating
down.
another bed in front of that sidewalk right there because they have an erosion problem that they're trying to fix. So where you can see where the curb ends down here in the lower left-hand corner, they're going to connect that with they're going to build it up about a foot or 2 feet and go all the way to the other end to stop some of the erosion problem and the mud washing across the parking lot all the time. So there actually will be a bed in front of all that at some point. I don't know what the size of that bed's going to look like, but
when they
it'll
get
be
through
something.
with the concrete, there shouldn't be any exposed dirt there.
I would think, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there will be.
So I don't know why there'd be anything washing, but anyway, yes, that's certainly a possibility. We just need to see what it looks like when it's finished. I don't know if you'd do a mural and then have a rail, have to look through a rail to see it.
Right.
But it might be pretty easy to get up above the rail and do it.
Yeah, we ought to know what that rail looks like in a couple of weeks, because they're planning to be finished by the 26th of June. So
Oh,
that's
good.
about 3 weeks. Yep.
Good. Any other comments on the sign? Good idea. We just need to see what the finished product looks like and then decide what we want to do.
I agree. And we can also add that mural to the tourism grant that we hope to win.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
we're going to win it.
That's exactly right.
We don't hope to win it. We're going to win it. They wanted to give it to us last year. We finished in the top 5, even though it really didn't fit their profile.
Yeah, we got a resolution here on that, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Planning Commission report.
There was a planning commission meeting. We discussed, of course, the table of uses. We're getting very close to being completed with that, and we should be ready to present a recommendation to the board at some point, hopefully maybe July's board meeting. We'll see. We have 2 more planning commission meetings before that point. And there was a BZA meeting, which our new table of uses would have taken care of this. We wouldn't have to have a BZA meeting, but there was a request to put a medical use in a general business area. And anyway, that required approval from the BZA. So, and that was approved. So.
Any questions on the Planning Commission? Public Works Manager's report.
We're all just, we had a meeting Monday morning with all employees practicing social distancing, of course. But everyone was glad to be back, and we've been meeting with the mayor weekly, discussing things going on in town, and obviously we're behind in some areas. We ask for just to bear with us. We will catch back up. It's going to take a little time. The guys worked excellent together in 10-man, working 10 guys a week. They all worked together. When one crew had to go to the cemetery, everybody went to the cemetery and helped out. The water, sewer, helped install gas meters. Everybody pulled together to make things work for our town and its citizens and our customers. And thank you, Mayor, for allowing us to do that.
Well, I think it's worked pretty well so far, hasn't it? If we don't
Yes.
get somebody sick and quarantine everybody.
Right.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any comments from the board? Okay, next item is the proprietary purchase of 100 parts for gas meters from Itron for $62.50.
Right. So the price has gone up a little bit since the last time we purchased these. I believe the last time we purchased them, they were under $5,000, and we didn't have to have board approval at that point. But we're kind of locked in. This is a proprietary purchase of 100 hertz for our gas meters.
Okay, we'll move that on to the board.
Mayor, may
Yes,
I say something? We
Yes,
got
sir.
word from Itron that a lot of these boards and parts come from China for these ERTs, and they're projecting that they're going up possibly by $20 per ERT by the first of the year. So I'm going to be looking into that in the next couple of months and see if we can't go ahead and buy some at this price, more at this price, rather than wait, because like Bob just said, we're locked into these ERTs and this type of meter reading equipment. It was just something that was decided several years ago. It's what we went with. So we can't change it simply by just going to another company. They're not compatible with what we use. Just giving you a heads up on that.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Review Resolution 13, 2020, a resolution providing for the cash match of the 2020 Tourism Enhancement Grant.
Right. So in order to, facilitate the renovation of the museum part of that building over there, Mendy's working on this, and we'll be reviewing it over the next couple of weeks, but it's due. When is it due? July? Pretty soon, right, Mendy?
I believe it's the end of July.
Yeah.
The end of
July. It's a quick turnaround. And we might know by September 1st if we got this grant or not.
Yeah, mid-September, I think, is what the
Right.
what the timeline is.
So it's a pretty quick turnaround. It's up to $150,000 project, $75,000 from us and $75,000 from the state, which would do a significant amount of work over there at the building. And so we're working on that to try to put that all together. And this resolution is part of that project, part of that process of putting the grant application together. And we just need this so that we can put this in with the grant. Of course, if we don't get the grant, we don't spend the money. So it is a reimbursable grant. We will get so we put the money out first and then get reimbursed.
Okay. Are there any questions on that?
No, Mayor, Mike French.
Yes, sir.
My iPad's about to die. I'm in Humboldt and the car charger won't charge while it's operating. So I enjoyed the meeting. Thank you.
Well, it sounds like to me you need to plan a little better.
Well, I'll try harder.
Well, you can call in on the telephone too, Mike, if you want.
Oh, that's okay, Bob. I appreciate it.
You can call in. Are you? I hope you're sitting on the side of the road.
Oh, I am. I'm sitting in a parking lot in Humboldt.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Which couldn't have happened 3 months ago, I might add. He wouldn't have been able to come to the meeting.
That's true.
I've lost my place here.
5B.
So the resolution, is there any questions on the resolution on the tourism grant? Okay, we'll move that on to the board meeting. Now, item B here, 5B, where did this come from?
So this was a suggestion from Insight. And actually Richie Smith was one of the parts, they want to put a plaque together. And I said, the only change we might want to do is add all the board members' names to this. I mean, I'm not that important. I think all board members are more important. It would be, it's about a $1,200 deal. We would pay 1/4 of that, $300. And it's a 20 by 20 plaque that would either go right into the sidewalk or we could put it in a flower bed someplace. So we don't have to get it approved or anything. If you don't want to do it, we certainly don't have to do it. But we would need to get it approved, I think, at the next board meeting in order for them to get it installed properly. So I can discuss with them this week, where they're considering putting it. Initially, they were going to put it on the south side sidewalk down there somewhere. But maybe a flower bed would be better. I don't know. Or not at all.
Running out of options as far as.
Well, we definitely want the board members' names on there, not just me and you. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I wonder if that would cost more.
Well, just
we can't hear you, Jason. We've lost you, Jason.
what's the plan? I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little better.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. My bad, losing signal. I was just asking what the plaque was for again.
It's basically,
Okay, maybe not.
it's pointing out that we did the project in 2020. It's also an advertising vehicle for them, for us, you know, to show that we did this grant in 2020. This sidewalk was finished in 2020. I don't, other than that, other than just an advertising thing, I don't think it really has any value to it other than that. So it may look good. It's going to be a bronze plaque, you know, with raised letters. It ought to look pretty nice. This is just a mock-up of the words on it. And our piece is $300.
Jason, if you're trying to say something, you're not coming through.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess we can decide at the board meeting, but
Let me find locations that they're talking about putting it.
I'm sorry, Jason, you're still not coming through if you're trying to say something.
You can do that for me.
I would have thought there'd have been better reception in Shelby Farms Park.
No, that's okay, Ron. Now,
Jason's still not, I mean, if you're saying anything,
okay.
we're hearing about every third word or something.
oh, okay.
I heard that, but that's the first thing I've heard. Okay. Can you hear us?
I'm just gonna put it on now. Yeah. Well,
I'm seeing a picture now.
hear me now?
Not really, not well enough.
Yeah, I can hear y'all fine.
We're not.
Just go ahead. Oh, okay.
Okay, he went silent there, Mayor.
Okay. Well, Jason, if you would just get with Bob after the meeting or whatever on any questions you have, I'd appreciate it. Let's see, we're now at the traffic signal maintenance contract.
So this, the traffic signal maintenance contract we have now is up on the 30th of June. Last time we had two bidders, which was Shelby Electric and DeSoto Electric. And I included an email that we received from DeSoto Electric that they declined to bid this year. There are no other providers for this. So we tried Jackson before. We tried it again this year. Who else did we try? Did you try anybody else?
No,
There really
I
isn't
checked
anybody
Memphis.
else.
I checked surrounding areas.
Yeah, Memphis is not interested. I mean, Shelby County is, but Shelby Electric is, but not Memphis.
Shelby County is serviced by Shelby Electric.
Right, right. So anyway,
Isn't this basically the same we've been doing? I mean,
it's $300 more than it was the last time. It's basically the same thing we did, $350 more than was last time.
Okay.
And really just for the regular services, it's actually, item A is actually cheaper and item B is more than last time. And it comes out to about $300 difference.
And we've had excellent service.
Right. And they come out here anytime there's a problem, they come right out here and help us and take care of it. In addition to, you know, the regular services that are the first item A and B are the regular services. And then item C are the costs of labor when they come out here to help us whenever we call them, like somebody hits a wire or something, knocks something off the bottom of the traffic signals.
Okay.
So this is really a single source provider contract.
Any questions on this? Move it to the board for approval.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, that's
I
it.
think that's it. The budget then?
Yeah, we did. There is that little item that we need to talk about. Okay, so that's a separate packet.
Would you like me to just lead everybody through this, Mayor?
Let's go ahead and get started. I'm still
Okay.
trying to find.
Based on what was said at the last meeting, I did a property tax analysis of all the property taxes that are due to the town of Somerville. And I fixed that accordingly in the budget. The 2020 taxes plus ad valorem due to the town of Somerville this year are $494. 95% of that is $470,000. The ad valorem taxes billed last year were $485. We collected so far year to date 464 of that almost, which we've collected 95.5% of the taxes. Property taxes uncollected from 2018 are about $12,000 as of May 29th. Prior years, about 11,000 total, for a total potential collection of taxes in fiscal year 21 of $516,882. What I budgeted was $491, which is 94.4% of all the outstanding property taxes due. We usually collect 95 to 98% every year. So the property tax did increase about $8,677 this year over the prior year due to new property built in the town. And well, that's it basically. So our 1 penny is worth $7,181 at this moment, which is an increase of $128 over last year, about almost 2%. So that's the property tax analysis. The changes I've made since the first reading. So when we get to the budget, line item budget, you'll see that I've highlighted the changes that I've made. And I'll read them off a little at a time if you'd like. I don't know if you picked up a packet or not. I did put some printed packets out by the window. I adjusted the property taxes like I said in there. I added $15,000 in revenue for the downtown grant. I added $40,000 in grant revenue to finish the 2015 TDOT TA grant project. I'm not quite sure they're going to be 100% complete, so I put another $50,000 in there for appropriations and $40,000 in there for revenue. I added the $20,419 in unrestricted funds from public entity partners, and I added $7,500 for the sale of surplus vehicles, which is mainly the 3 Crown Victorias and a couple other things that probably will be coming up. Appropriations, I added $10,000 for annual accounting software costs, which I left out accidentally at the first reading. I increased memberships, fees, and tuition in the police by $5,000 for additional firearms training as requested by the board. I decreased the gas in the police by $2,500. I guess we'll see if that really comes true or not. I added $15,000 in the downtown grant appropriations. So that's basically a 100% grant, which is offset by the revenue, and appropriations are exactly the same. So there really is no difference to the budget. And I added the $50,000 appropriation to the Transportation Alternatives program, which is a net expense to us of $10,000 in the general fund. So we can go through the general fund and I can show you those individual items. If we go right to the general fund now, and I can show you the line items if you can see them. Everything in yellow over there on the right-hand side was adjusted since the last reading. So property taxes were adjusted to more fairly represent what is due to us. The revenues down here in TA grant revenues were increased there because it was nothing, and I put something in there because I don't really think they're going to be 100% complete by the end of the fiscal year, or at least we won't have all our bills finished by the end of the fiscal year. There's your $15,000 TA, your downtown grant, and your public entity partners relief money is there. Let's see. There's your sale of surplus vehicles, $7,500. And so the total revenues, anticipated revenues for next year are $2.258 million in anticipated revenues. Are there any questions about the revenues? Anybody? Okay. The appropriations haven't been a lot of changes up this far here. Let's see, we'll go down to the police. City recorder, they're the same as last time. General government buildings, there's the $10,000 in accounting software that I did not add in there before. So it's in there again right now. The $10,000 is back in there. There's your police. I adjusted that $20,000 there, police fund, to 20,000 from 15 to include additional memberships. We also have 2 officers that are going to be going to training. Hopefully, I think the July training is on schedule, and they have 150 people in that class. They're a huge class in Bell Buckle this year for training for police. So one will go in July or the end of June, and the other one will go 3 months later. Firearms, I reduced back down to where it was originally because I had the $5,000 in that fund, and I thought the firearms is not training. The firearms is buying guns and bullets and stuff like that. So I kind of just changed that around. Gas, oil, I reduced that from 40 to 37.5. That lowered the appropriations down to 993 in the police fund. Any questions regarding all that? And you can see I left out the police cars here that we can put back in if we find out that everything is okay in a few months. Fire department, there really are no changes from the first reading. You'll notice the 9-year loan expenses are all finished. All of our interfund loan expenses are finished in every fund. There are no changes to, I did change here. Public Works, I added the $50,000 for the grant that we're working on currently, just in case we need that extra appropriation in the general fund to pay off the rest of that. And I added the $15,000 downtown grant here to recreational and cultural development. And then I did add $10,000 to replace the awning that's over the sidewalk in front of the museum. It's kind of hanging down, and it could be a problem. We just need to get it taken care of as soon as possible, I think. I already have one estimate, which is under $10,000, or one quote that's under $10,000, and we're working on getting 2 more quotes for that. So we should probably try to take care of that as soon as possible.
So that
and you can
be in this year? Can you get it this year?
I can't get it done in this year's budget, but I can get it done in next year's budget. It could get done in July. But I need another 2 quotes, and I've got one coming. The roof for the electric building starts tomorrow. They're bringing the stuff in tomorrow, and they'll start on Thursday. So he's going to come over here and take a look at that. He's going to give us an estimate on that roof. And then we're going to get 1 more quote on that. So we'll have 3 quotes for the board in July.
Okay.
So I added that to next year's budget. So you can see with all the deductions, all the changes, that we are still $74,000 to the positive at this time, even removing all that revenue and those few expenses that we removed. We're still positive 74,000. So we do have some wiggle room in the budget at this moment for unforeseen issues coming up, if those come true in the future, or hopefully good unforeseen or bad unforeseen, that we have enough money for the downside unforeseen stuff. Are there any questions there?
No.
I guess, all right.
Sorry, go ahead.
So neither one of the street improvement projects will be done in the next fiscal year.
I don't anticipate either one of them starting until fiscal 22.
Okay.
If they do, it'll be at the very end of the year, and we could amend the budget if we had to.
All right. Now the first one is, well, that's the two different types of grants, right?
Right. So the
they
2000
could be going on at the same time, actually.
Yes. Yes,
Now
the other two grants conceivably could be going on at the same time. Yes, sir.
All right. Now the multimodal grant is
That's the traffic signals on the square and elimination of the death triangle.
that's the A2H project.
Yes, sir. That's also reimbursable. We are working on getting that all set up now because we do have some expenses this year. But that's reimbursable 95, well, 5% is ours and 95 is the state, so, or is TDOT. So we will be, that should start immediately because we already have some expenses in multimodal.
Okay. And then the TLM project is the sidewalks TUTM.
Yes, sir. And we won't get any reimbursement until the project actually starts. All of the engineering and stuff up front is not reimbursable.
But that's going to be 22, you think?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But you know where we are. We're just now getting the 15 grant done.
I know.
So I think 22 might even be optimistic. I'm hoping it is anyway. I'm hoping we can get done in 22.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. I'll go through some more of the changes I made. The water fund, I added the water system modeling. I just put an amount in there. I did not I haven't talked to Alton about that or anything, and we haven't really discussed that yet. We're still kind of working on what we want out of that, aren't we, Jeep?
Yes, sir.
In the sewer fund, I added a pump wagon, and we're calling it the pump wagon, but it's basically, well, you explain exactly what it is, Jeep, would you please?
As y'all well know, we have about 80 individual pump systems in our system at people's houses. And as these systems have problems, since we are locked into maintaining them, it is difficult, to say the least, to drain them in order to work on them. We have not been able to come up with a viable pump solution, so we have to replace electronics, rail systems, and pumps. And in order to do this, we need to safely be able to get rid of the water, and we need a safe place to be able to store it. So short of hiring a septic system like Mr. Logan to come and do that for us, who's not available most of the time, this was something that the sewer department requested. And as these systems get older and older, the necessity becomes greater and greater. We got several prices on them. The lowest was around 17, 18,000. The highest was up to 30,000. And these aren't individual trucks or anything. These are on their own trailers. Anyway, that's one of the things that they've requested.
So it's just a pump and a tank, basically?
Yes, sir. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
It has other bells and whistles, of course, and brushes and attachments and this, that, and other. But basically, it's a trailer, a tank, and a pump.
Okay.
Pump wagon.
Mm-hmm.
That was Jeep's pump wagon was his naming of that. In the gas department, I added 75,000 for the continued renovation of the 417 Midland building. I did The roofing contractor says it's going to take him 6 to 7 days to finish the roof, so he'll be done this fiscal year. I had $30,000 for a half-ton pickup truck. We were going to sell another half-ton pickup of 2011, so that'll be 10 years old by the time we sell it. I added $100,000 for a 55 horsepower vibrator plow. That's a vibratory plow, sorry. That's to replace the vibratory plow we just purchased a year and a half ago. It's not large enough. It doesn't have enough horsepower. Anyway, so we just need to trade in that one and get another one. And then the Mini X that we bought about 5 years ago, really we'd like to trade that in and get a new one that we could put attachments on. And the one attachment that we were going to purchase right away would be a drill bit attachment.
Jackhammer attachment.
Jackhammer attachment, yes. Sorry, not drill bit.
All right.
Drill bit goes on my drill at home.
So is there a price on the mini excavator?
Yes, I have that on there.
It's under state contract. Bobcat is. I've gotten 3, and actually the Bobcat was $50,000. That's including the attachment. It's not including what the trade-in price on the old Mini X would be, which I estimate to be between 10 and 14,000. We will not have to purchase a new trailer, even though the Bobcat's heavier. This trailer that we currently own will haul it no problem, and then also the trucks that we use will haul it with no problem.
Okay, but so how much did you add into the budget?
I don't know. Let me look here real quick. Sorry. I had $70,000 in there.
All right, but I just then heard that it's going to be closer to 40.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think we need to appropriate 50 at least, probably. I can change that.
Well, I just was wondering. I mean, there wasn't a price listed here.
I probably did it. I did that page before I knew the price. Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions on that part?
Also, I increased the revenue in the gas department based on the trade-ins that we were going to have in the sale of the truck, about $70,000 for all those trade-ins and the truck. So I added that revenue to the gas department. So we can go through, would you like to go through each one of those funds individually? Well,
That is entirely up to the board members. Jason, you're at home?
Yes, I am back with y'all now.
Okay.
I mean, I've been with y'all. I've been able to hear y'all the whole time. Just, I guess y'all couldn't hear me.
No, we couldn't. We'd hear about every 5th word, maybe. And it would be distorted.
Yeah.
It looks to me like we might be able to purchase a vehicle out of the drug fund next year if we wanted to do that. We have about $50,000 in the drug fund right now. I think we could, if we wanted to, purchase one of those vehicles. There's no real reason to leave it in the drug fund. The street aid fund, I just tried to, it does include the $42,000 project, which we're budgeting at 42, but we will not actually do that until next year. That's kind of a placeholder for next year's budget, probably, for additional street overlay project. We may be able to do another, depending on how the revenues fall in that street aid fund, which we don't really know at this point. We may be able to do another $100,000 project next year based on fund balance and everything else. Solid waste. Sorry. Operationally, we're looking at about a $14,000 surplus. This year, we're looking, right now, currently, we're at a $50,000 surplus. So But we're anticipating that we'll be at a $27,000 surplus by the end of this year. So this line item here, net change in accrued position is what the government looks at to make sure we make money in those funds. And then the other one goes back to cash and shows you all the projects that we anticipate, which we don't have any projects in street and solid waste this year. Again, none of these reflect any pay increase for anybody. Water department, we're looking at a budget of revenues in excess of operating expenses of almost $153,000. I know we're trying to get that somewhere close to that antenna rental contract, and we're getting closer all the time. You'll see we don't have a lot of projects in there, so we anticipate cash coming back to the fund balance of about a little over $200,000. So you can see at the bottom, the blue line indicates what fund balance would be if everything came true next year.
Is that, well, you don't have fund balance in water, you have net position, but is that net position or is that cash?
That's cash, not fund balance, cash.
Okay.
In the sewer fund, we're anticipating, again, about a $38,000 revenues in excess of operating expenses next year. It's possible we could have almost 54,000 by the end of this year. That's my anticipation right here. Basically, we're operationally, we're doing a lot better. We've changed the way we're doing some stuff. Utilities are lower. Chemicals are lower. So we're doing better operationally. And then again, that's where we would be. The bottom line down there is where we would be in cash if everything came true. That's on the budget. And then gas is the last one. Change in net position, looking at about $137,000. Revenues in excess of operating expenses, and a lot of projects in gas. So if we add all that stuff together, it looks like that's what we would have in cash at the end of the year. That's if everything happens the way it's budgeted, which always happens, correct?
Right. Right. There's never any unexpected.
Yeah, nothing unexpected ever happens.
Any questions on any of those? Okay, the next line there is the budgeted
positions. Here's a list of the budgeted positions. That special pay line is actually holiday pay in the police department. Mike had a question about that. That's why they're all different, because it's based on their hourly rate. 96 hours based on their hourly rate.
The police and fire, just to remind y'all, I'm sure you know this, but the police and fire do not get holidays. They just work. If their shift falls on the holiday, they work. And in exchange for that, they get paid for all the holidays that the other employees get.
That's correct. And they get paid for 8 hours, just like the regular employees get paid. So everybody gets the same benefit.
So that means if they work or they don't work, they still get 8 hours except for the employee that works that day.
Right. Well, they get New Year's Day. If just two of them are working, everybody gets New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And then so for Christmas Day, everybody gets that 8 hours for that day of time.
They get paid for all the holidays, and then they just work their regular
I have
shift.
since we're talking about, I have a suggestion, and this just you know, it would be totally up to, you know, the fire, the police, even the other employees, is just asking them if they wanted to, like, save that holiday pay for Christmas and pay them the holiday pay, because there's a certain amount of days they get, we pay them for holidays every year.
So we used to do that. In fact, up until a few years ago, we used to do that, Jason. And one of the reasons why we don't is you get such a large paycheck that you start getting a lot of money taken out of your paycheck, and you reduce your benefit because you're paying a whole lot more in taxes based on your income for that one pay period.
Okay.
Right. So I think it works out financially better for them this way if they do it like this.
Okay. Well,
You know, and they do get, you know, you're talking Christmas and Thanksgiving. They have 4 holidays within you know, less than a month, within 30 days. So they do have an additional money in their paycheck.
it was just a suggestion, you know.
Yeah, we used to do it like that. We just changed it back to
Pay the holiday.
they get paid on the holiday as each holiday happens.
Any questions on the employee positions? Our current minimum is $12. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir. $12.
Okay, and so the part-time firemen are the only ones that make them our minimum, right?
Yes. The part-time firemen up until a couple of years ago were making about $8 an hour. We changed that 1 or 2 years ago. I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe 3 years ago. I don't think it's that long ago. And that helps us actually have part-time firemen show up to fires as well, because they're getting paid $12 an hour to show up to a fire rather than a volunteer pay or something like that. So what I would like to see is
that's good that they get paid, especially the part-timers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we have 2 part-time firemen right now.
Okay.
We have 12. We're up to 12 volunteers again.
Okay, good.
Volunteers have been rolling.
Good.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen them out there training at Station 2 on the way home.
Yeah, Kel's been, you know, itching to get back to training because, you know, he had a lot of momentum going, getting volunteers, and he just wanted to keep that going. It's been pretty active over there lately.
Okay, are there any questions on any of the employee positions?
So the one thing I did add, I would add the maintenance team, which we added to there last year. So I added the maintenance team to the list. So that's Cecil and his crew guys. And that's really helped us. I think it helped us a lot operationally, having that maintenance team. And Jeep's done a great job coordinating all those guys and keeping that thing, keeping everything going.
Okay. Any other questions on that?
Mm-mm.
You have in there a cost of living pay increase chart.
So I just wanted to show you what it would be if it's basically the same chart as last year. Really hadn't changed much. If we did the hourly, if we did just the total right here, which is the top line of how much money you would make, a 1% equivalent is $437 each person, and $874 each person for 2%, and $1311 for 3%. That's the equivalency that you would get. And then how much each fund would pay, or how much it would cost each fund to give that raise. So you can see that. And then down below, I did a straight 1% increase, and you can see how it affects each fund. The difference is if you give the straight amount like we have done in the last 2 or 3 years, it helps out the guys at the bottom the most. Of course, the people at the top don't get as much, but those guys making $13 or $14 an hour, it helps them the most. They come out to 4.5%, 5% sometimes in pay increase, depending on how little they make. and it helps them out significantly. So, but you can see the difference between giving that that a dollar figure or the percentage. It's only it's only $150 is the difference total.
Okay. Okay, with what's going on though, I just don't see how we do that at this point. I think we can start looking at it very closely every month and see if we can
Yes,
do
sir.
something later in the year. Is my
Yes, sir.
thoughts on it. Of course, I'm only one person.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I would like y'all to know that I had a meeting Monday morning with all of my employees, and they are well aware that the board and mayor of Aldermen may err on the side of caution, you know, until we see what the town's revenues and you know what it's going to turn out to be. So they've been told about it. There was not any grumbling at all about it, because I've been here 10 years and I've never been at a location that we've gotten a raise every year. It was something. So they know that y'all are going to be looking at it, and if there's any way possible that it'll work out. If not, then they're okay with it. I just wanted to let you know that we did discuss it, and they were all fine.
Okay. Well, thank you.
I agree
Thank
with
you.
Ron.
We appreciate that too. We appreciate them.
I agree with Ronnie. If we can just look at it on a month-to-month basis, and maybe down the road we could do something. If not, you know, I'm glad that they definitely understand that, you know, the position that we're in. But I agree with Ronnie.
You know, one option we could do is give people a bonus at the end of the year to make up for that, rather than a pay raise, and then next year give them the pay raise. I was just been thinking a little bit out in my head.
But yeah, there are several ways.
Ways we could do it and catch
I
up.
don't think we're going to really know where we are until September, October at least, and maybe even later.
Maybe January.
I would think the way the virus works, it doesn't work too well with heat. I think we're not going to see. And if there is a second wave, I don't think it's going to be until it's really cold. And
Well, tell me when the first wave is going to be over, though. Because we just had,
yet, I don't think.
we just had the second or third largest daily increase in the state yesterday. So I think we're just going to have to be cautious and see.
I would
We
agree
can
with
look at
Bob.
it.
I would agree with Bob. Maybe give them some kind of bonus around Christmas, you know, to
Make up for what they didn't get, you know, at the beginning of the year.
You know,
If it all works out financially.
Something is better than nothing anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And then the last thing on that list is the capital projects that are budgeted. I rearranged them, Mayor, so all the ones that that are in the budget are at the top, and all the ones we should maybe, or we could consider in the future, are at the bottom. So you can see the first three projects are with the $100,000 that we're going to get from the governor's local government support grant.
We hope.
Those are roofing projects and the Watson system. They all qualify for the grant, and it's something that we can do pretty easily. And I think, and I've learned a lot from this electric building roofing project as far as putting the specification together. So I think it'll all work out pretty well, and I think a lot of them are interested in bidding again. The museum replacing the awning, like I said, is included in there. The turnout gear is included in there with a $12,000 grant. So it's a wash on that turnout gear as far as expense. Of course, I've got the 2 TDOT grants that are currently underway. I've got the tasers and the rifles in the drug fund. I've got the water system modeling, the pump wagon, the remainder, or the gas phase 7, which was originally budgeted, or sorry, not, which is underway. Actually, the design of that's underway right at the moment. Replacing the doors, windows, and roof on the old electric building, half-ton pickup truck, and the vibratory plow, and then the Mini X. So those are all in the budget. Other stuff that we can consider when we get to the other side of this are including the alley project, the museum renovation project, which if we get the grant, we're definitely going to put it in the budget, I'm sure, but we have the funds to do that if we wanted to. Maybe adding benches on the square like we were talking, firehouse construction project, if that comes true, if the referendum goes through on August 6th and all that works out, we can consider some of that. Purchasing a newer used, I'm calling it a newer used pumper, something that's not 45 years old, 46 years old, whatever it is right now. We have to put a new rear end on that pumper. We're working on that right now, and Kel's got that in the works. And then a new F550 for the rescue vehicle, the chassis basically for the rescue vehicle, which we use a lot. We also talked about the training, EMT advanced training for the part-time firemen, including them in that training. But, you know, without school, we don't even know what school's going to look like in September. So we may just want to hold off on that. Again, the new police vehicles, we can add that to the budget if we want. Police headquarters renovation would be connected to the referendum, and then we'd have to see how everything's working. The backhoe that we purchased in 12 probably needs to be replaced.
It was supposed to be in this year.
Yeah, we could put it in this year's budget. It would be $35,000 in the general fund. It would be another $35,000 in the solid waste fund and the sewer fund. That's where it was split before.
I say we hold off until next year.
But we need to just hold off. We can hold off another year. We can make it work. University Park restrooms, which I think we're going to start working on that as much as we can do ourselves, and we'll see how we go with that. And then that's the rest of the backhoe. So all this stuff, future and current, are all in the budget. They have a space in there for future projects, which I included all these possible future projects in there. In the actual ordinance, budget ordinance, which we can look at if you'd like to look at that next. Are there any questions, Mayor?
I don't have any. Or do the other board members have any questions?
No.
So the only other thing left, I think, is to review the actual budget ordinance and maybe discuss, did we discuss the $8,500? Yeah, we did. We're just going to send that to the board next time, right?
On the
Yes.
501c3?
The 501c3 donations, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Hey,
if
Bob.
you
I
would,
think that's what we said.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob,
Yeah.
do we need to add in the budget possibly the bonus at the end of the year if we don't do the raise? Do we need to add in?
Now we're going to just amend the budget when we get there.
So we can, okay.
We'll just amend it if we have to. And then this is the actual budget ordinance itself. It's similar to what we've done in the past. It lists every fund. It lists the actual for 2019, which comes out of our audit. We list the estimated, which I continue to update. And this is the most updated version of the estimated year end this year. So we have 2 months where we have to guess what's going to happen. And then that's our budgeted for 21. So each funds are on here, and you can see them directly, and you can see each one of them. Then here's the street aid fund and the drug fund, solid waste fund, water fund, and they all have are positive in the revenue. They all have revenues in excess of operating expenses. Sewer fund, and gas fund. And then this is what the fund balance is. This is an estimate. This is what the fund balance will be at the end of the year if all that other stuff comes true. These are our long-term notes that we still have outstanding, and where they will be at the where they are now, where they will be at the end of the year, and what interest is due next year. And then capital projects that are included in the budget, which we just went through, and then capital projects that are not included that we anticipate coming in the future. And that's the whole ordinance.
Why would you put those in there?
Pardon me?
Why are those in there?
That's part of the ordinance. It's always been in there.
Not things that we don't fund. Or
You think that it shouldn't be in there if it's not funded already?
That's what I think. If it's not a part of the budget, then it wouldn't be in there.
Well, I've always put it in there, so I mean, I could take it out if you want.
I don't know why you'd put it in there if we're not spending any money on it.
I don't know. That's something they asked for, though.
Which one is this?
This is proposed future capital projects.
Oh,
okay.
Well, I mean, where do you stop? I mean, it says police cars. So do you put the next 5 years or the next year or the next 22
well, that's true.
years?
I just looked at next year, but I just thought about next year.
I think you ought to just take that out.
Okay.
I think it's confusing. I don't
What
know why it would be required since we're not spending any money on any of those projects at this point.
What is the arcade renovation? Remind me of that.
That's the alley.
Oh, okay. Gosh, dang it.
Sorry, I called it two different things there. Sorry.
Are there any questions on the ordinance?
No.
Okay, we will move.
I have a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
If we have to, if we go over $1,000 in a line item and we have to change that, we don't have to change the ordinance to do that. We're not really a line item budget. Why do they have that in there?
That's another time and place discussion.
Just wondering. I just wonder. I mean, if they look at the whole budget, if they look at the budget as a whole, why would they even have that language in there? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's all right.
Okay, if there are no other questions, if anybody, as you study this before next week, if you have any questions, be sure and follow up with Bob to get those resolved so that you can go into the meeting for the vote knowing, having your questions answered before we get to the meeting, if you have them, for sure. Is there any other thing? That's everything, right?
There's nothing else, I think, Mayor. I think that's it.
If I could find the right form here, I could get back to the agenda.
The right packet.
Okay, here I am. I'm back. All right, so that was the last.
Yes, sir. That was it.
That was it. Does anybody else have anything tonight?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have anything either.
Okay, well,
I'm
I know
good.
you missed, I guess you missed part of it, Jason, but if you would get with Bob on any questions.
Yeah, I'll just go through and look through the budget, and if I have anything, I'll give him a call or meet with or whatever we can do.
But you said you could hear us most of the time.
Yeah, there was a couple times I lost signal
Okay.
and kind of cut out, but I can't remember what what area in the meeting it was. But if I have any questions, I'll go through it, and if I have any questions, I'll just get with Bob.
Okay, good. All right, if there's nothing else for tonight, we will stand adjourned.
Are
Thank
we
you.
Zooming next week as well?
We
Yeah,
are.
we're zooming. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All righty. Y'all have a good week.
You do the
Okay.
same.
See you all
Yes, sir.
Hey,
later.
Mindy,
Yes, ma'am.
were you talking, Ronnie? Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, ma'am. Go ahead.
Mindy, you're in the office right now, right? You've gone
Yes.
back to being there every day.
Yes.